Ladies and gentlemen, roll up for the draft of FC25. I'm going to stop doing that voice now. But yes, people, here we are. As you can see, I've got a spin wheel. And you might be asking, Max, this is different. Why is there a spin wheel here? Let me introduce you to the draft of FC25. We have all 20 teams in the Premier League, which is what we're doing today. And from the bottom of the league, which is Southampton, to the top, which is Liverpool, we are going to let players be drafted. Like an NFL draft. Is that the thing over in America? Sorry, I don't know my drafts. The only draft I've played is Foot Draft. It's kind of similar to these creators that you will see on screen. Big shout out to them. This is kind of what we're doing. If you have seen those videos, you might know, but we've got a difference here. This first wheel that you see is Premier League captains, the best rated players in each team on FC25. Then we have each other position from goalkeeper to striker, meaning each team will get one player in one position. And yes, they will all play 4-3-3, but it's going to be fair because everybody has one player from each position and they all play the same tactic. This is going to be very interesting, but to get the ball rolling and see how we do, the first pick is going to be Southampton because they're bottom. And they can have any captain. So the captain they're going to get, Bruno Fernandes of Manchester United. So not bad for the Saints. I think they'd like to have him in their team. I'm going to walk you through all the captains and we'll try and speed it up position by position. As Ipswich, they've got Guido Rodriguez from West Ham. What about Leicester, though? I think their best player is Vito Pereira. Brian Mbeumo, he's not the highest rating. However, he can still grow because we're going to be simming seasons with these squads. In FC24, as Wolves get Martin Odegaard. Of course, if you do get last pick, you've got less good players on this as Evanilson goes to the next team. It's West Ham. And now Everton get Heung-min Son. I don't see that being a popular choice. For reasons if you're an Everton fan, you will know. As Tottenham Hotspur, Tottenham have the best pick, Balon d'Or winner Rodri, who was one spin away from being a Manchester United player as, oh my days, Virgil van Dijk will be. That's two huge players gone. We do have Palmer and Isak on this list as Palmer is the next one out and he's going to Crystal Palace. Palmer at Palace has a ring to it as Brentford get Ramsdale. Still not the worst option. I mean, Calvin Phillips is on this list and he is still on the list. And of course you can get your own players back as Brighton had Kadioglu on the wheel, but they land on Jordan Pickford. And there's an example of what I just said. Fulham the next up on the spin and they get Leno, their old keeper, back, so they're not making a change. Aston Villa, though, they get Pereira of Leicester. And Bournemouth land the goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez. I'm sure Villa wanted their old player back and I'm sure Newcastle United do, as they will keep Isak. Shearer will be happy. However, Manchester City get Ait Nouri. That's a poor shock for them. Chelsea get Gibbs White. He's a captain that can grow. Forest land Eze. Arsenal Kadioglu. And I don't believe it. It leaves the league leaders Liverpool with the worst player possible. And that is the punishment for going last in the draft. As now we do move on to goalkeepers, those with them won't get another one. Like, for example, Brentford, they already have Aaron Ramsdale. However, now we change the order. So Liverpool will choose first. They need a good goalkeeper after getting Calvin Phillips and they go to Ipswich again. Muric, the disaster class. I feel for you, Arnie Slot. This is really rough as Arsenal get Sells, Forest get Nick Pope, and Chelsea land Alisson. No favourite still shouting out at me. There is a lot of spins to go as Manchester City land Kepa, Newcastle Areola, Bournemouth Jose Sarr, Villa David Raya, so Martinez is replaced with a pretty good keeper himself. Hang on a minute, hang on. I was going to put Vicario in Fulham, but I've just noticed I've gone wrong. This is corruption. Bournemouth already have a keeper and they span on Jose Sarr. So Sarr goes all the way over to Crystal Palace. And Vicario actually goes to Manchester United because I spanned the wheel a bit wrong. We've fixed it though, we've fixed it, as Tottenham get Hermadsen. Sanchez goes to Everton, Henderson to West Ham, Onana to Wolves, I am sorry to Wolverhampton fans, Flecken to Leicester, Verbruggen to Ipswich, and Ederson to Southampton. Now we've got the Sepp Blatter corruption out the way, we can move on and say there's a favourite. Southampton with 2 class players, and they get the next pick. For their right back, oh, that's a bit stinkier, Castagna. Ipswich with Aina, Leicester with Araujo, a silver card as Munoz to Wolverhampton, Semedo to the Hammers, and Matty Cash replaces Young at Everton, an improvement. As Spurs get Sugawara, one of the worst options on the wheel, apart from Ashley Young, as Hickey's now at United. Wan-Bissaka back to Palace, Kyle Walker over to Brentford. They're building a solid team, as Brighton are building an English squad. As if you do support one of these teams or not, leave a like and your team you think will win, and leave who in the comments. Also, don't forget to subscribe as Fulham get Trent Alexander-Arnold. And now it's straight over to Bournemouth because Leicester have Pereira and Ben Johnson. Of Ipswich, not good. Pedro Porro goes to Newcastle. Young goes to Man City. And Veltman over to Chelsea, leaving White, Mazraoui, and finally Kieran Trippier to Liverpool to break the curse of Ipswich Town players ending up at the league leaders. As now onto left backs, and Liverpool do need one. They get their old player back, a huge first spin. Andrew Robertson will return. The only problem, an aging squad, as James Justin jumps to Nottingham Forest. Arsenal had Karioglu as Kirkes to Chelsea, then to Newcastle with Digne. Vardiol to Bournemouth. How they needed it, as Odegaard to Villa Park. Fulham get another ex-player back in Anthony Robertson, the American. And Brighton go Irish, this time with the worst pick, Manning. Brentford get Henry back. Them going fully English, as Palace get another player back, Mitchell at left back. Then we've got Mikalenko at United, Emerson to Spurs, Hall, Kukurea, and Zinchenko to Everton, West Ham, Wolves in that order. Not leaving the best options left, Luke Shaw to Leicester, Moreno to Ipswich, and Little Leaf to Southampton, who I've got to say I still favourite very much, as now we're going to go in pairs with the centre-backs, so Southampton still have a shot at this, but the first pick is Ben Mee. However, the second, Ruben Diaz, so that is going to be their partnership. You know, I could do this one by one, but come on, let's speed it up a little. As Zabranyi to Ipswich, we are giving the little clubs a chance. Or those closer near the bottom, as he's partnered with Dazassi, as Leicester land John Stones, and also Gabriel. 2 huge players there, and it really needed to happen for Leicester. They have struggled so far, as Wolverhampton, O'Shea, and William Saliba, so both Arsenal players gone. And by the way, Wolves have 3 players beginning with O in their team. I just find that really unusual, as Tosin lines up with Bednarek for West Ham, so not the best of spins. Everton get Anderson and Tarkowski back, as Spurs get Wout Faes and Senesi. Not my cup of tea, as Man United only get 1 because they do have Van Dijk at the back with the Rock Igor. Gonna try and speed through these. We've got Vestergaard at Palace alongside Mateus de Ligt, giving them a solid squad, as Brentford get Mavropanos and also Harwood Belly, so they keep their English dreams alive. Loads of English players in there. Brighton get Milenkovic and also Mark Gurhey, as Fulham will draw Murillo alongside Martinez. Fulham's got the best defence, that goes without question, as Dunk to Villa alongside Trevor Chalobah. I think Fulham are struggling, as Kanate and Konza to Bournemouth, as Greaves from Ipswich, and Botman heads back to Tyneside, as Todibo to Man City alongside Jareth Branthwaite, so they kind of needed that because Manchester City are struggling. It's going to be Ethan Pinnock with Fabian Schär to Chelsea, as then Dawson and Bueno head to Forest, Van de Ven and Pau head to Arsenal, leaving Diop and Romero to go to Liverpool. Interesting spin so far, but now it gets interesting. We are out of the defence going on to midfield, and a lot of names. There is cams, CDMs, and centre mids all on this list, so it goes from Connor Chaplin all the way to KDB. As Liverpool spin first, oh my days, Guimaraes alongside Alvarez, and they already do have Calvin Phillips. Bet they're buzzing with that, as now, oh my days, wow. After some good defensive picks, Adam Lallana to Arsenal with Curtis Jones, the suspended man, and also Lewis Cook. It's a full English link-up, but is it the English you want? That's actually really bad for Arsenal, and they did get the first pick, as Ward-Prowse and McAllister make up the Nottingham Forest players, with Szoboszlai to Chelsea, alongside Nicolas Dominguez making it 2 cams in their team, so Chelsea could be too attacking, as Man City get the wrong Fernandes, alongside Norgard and Declan Rice, leaving them a little defensive as Kamada out for the next ones, with Kamara. Yes, they are 2 separate players. And Sander Berge heading to Newcastle, so that's a little defensive-minded. But it's going to be fun leaving the lower teams to attack as Vitaly Janelt, Pereira, and Morsi to Bournemouth, with McGinn, Tonali, and Doucouré to Villa. I think he was on the wheel twice, so I was kind of forcing it as Jensen, Connor Chaplin, and El Canouse to Fulham, as now Brighton are up next, and they get Paulo Sarabia with Philip Billing and Bernardo Silva. Bernardo to Brighton, but it was very close to De Bruyne, as Joelinton, Tyler Adams, and Flynn Downs to Brentford, keeping the English dream alive as Lamina back to Crystal Palace, and also Casemiro. As for the purposes of this video, I'm counting Palmer as a cam, not a right mid, so no more midfielders needed, as Ndidi to United, alongside Idrissa Gana Gueye and Ollie Skip, as Tottenham need 2. The first one is going to be João Gomez, alongside O'Reilly, and of course the Ballon d'Or winner Rodri, as Spurs first get Milner, then Bentancur back, then Yuri Tielemans, with West Ham getting Mangala, and then Kevin De Bruyne. They have got the lucky one, and also Mikel Merino. West Ham have gone from strugglers to genuine contenders today, as now Wolves just need the 2. The first one's going to be Vifer from Brighton, to go with Nkunku and Odegaard. Little heavy on the attacking, as the last time we need 3 players from the wheel, as Agate, Souček, and Kearney to Leicester City, leaving me with 3 left. I think I might have gone a little wrong here. Oh yes, I said I had Doucouré twice. I forgot about the Doucouré at Palace. Brain fart, I took them off at the same time as Enzo. We'll be joined by James Maddison over at Ipswich, good midfield, leaving the very unusual link-up of a Malian midfield behind Bruno Fernandes of Doucouré and Basuma, you can see left on the wheel, going to the Saints. But now we move on to where it matters. Attack, attack, attack. And we're going to start with left wings because they are weaker than the right wings that have Salah, Foden, Saka, and also the main man Anthony, which I know is the world's best player. But who do the Saints get at left wing? They're going to get Jack Clark, with then Clark's old club getting Paqueta, who's a registered left mid. I'll change him to winger when we make the teams, as Martinelli joins Leicester City. Wolves grab their old player, Leicester's that is, Mavadidi, and West Ham Hudson-Odoi. They're still the worst option on this list. Carlos Forbes. Wolves don't have great wingers because they don't usually play them, as Ramsey goes to join Son, who will be a striker at Everton. Spurs actually get a bad one as well, like Forbes, in Jeffrey Schlupp. And United get the man who just said he hated Man United with that freedom comment on Rashford's Instagram, as Palace are going to have Werner. Brentford are going to keep on going English when they can with Rashford. And Brighton go for Visser, the Brentford man himself. Fulham get Harvey Barnes. Villa land on Forbes, and it's even worse for them because he is a Wolves player. So from arrivals now, Bournemouth, they're going to get Luis Diaz, Newcastle Sinistera, and Man City Dwight McNeil. It hasn't gone right for them, as Smith Rowe goes to Nottingham Forest. No, Chelsea actually. Chelsea I forget they're behind Forest in the league. Well in the Forest as they get Grealish, who did play for Notts County. Sorry Forest fans, and sorry to Arsenal, Maxwell Cornet, leaving Matoma for Liverpool, who do get the next pick. And I am going to change the order from what you think. Striker next. And this is because right wing has a lot of really good spots in it. There's still the likes of Watkins, Haaland, Kai Havertz. On this list is now for Liverpool. They're going to land on Ollie Watkins. Revival from the Ipswich picks as now we move on to Arsenal. And they get Liverpool's man, Diogo Jota, which is not bad at all. The good ones coming out first, but then Fulkrug to Forest. Not really what they want. Is a little bit like Chris Wood is, but then the worst pick goes to Chelsea in Onuachu. Then Igor Thiago, the man who hasn't played for Brentford going to City, had an injury as now Bournemouth get Vardy because Newcastle have Isak. Villa get Mateus Cunha, yet again another Wolves player, but I don't think they'll mind this time because this is a solid player. Yes, probably hatred in real life as Delap goes to Fulham. Now, we are going to sim a few seasons so he can still build his potential. Brighton get Muniz. He was one spin away from going back to Fulham. Then Brentford get Xerxes. And Palace will land Kai Havertz. It's not the worst thing in the world as now Man United with Mateta. And Spurs are the lucky ones. They go and land Erling Haaland. Not the greatest squad of all, but they just landed Haaland, do have Rodri. Spurs probably up there as favourites as Jackson will go to Wolverhampton. And have I gone wrong again? I swear to God I made these lists at 4 AM. It was Calvert-Lewin that fell off my list, I believe, when I deleted Rory Delap. Oh, Liam Delap, my brain, as Leicester City will get Chris Wood. And Ipswich will get João Pedro, so sorry to Southampton. They're left with Calvert-Lewin, but no need to fear because they get first pick when all these class right wings are about. As here we are, ladies and gents, the finale of the wheel spins, and Southampton... Oh, you've missed your chance. Abdel Fatawu. I guess he'll grow. He will grow. As then Anthony to Ipswich. The Brazilian front three, though, of Anthony, Pedro and Paqueta could slide under the radar as Leicester get the ball rolling. Mohamed Salah's more like it. And actually... they don't have him. Brian Mbeumo is at Leicester, so Salah moves over to Wolves. Bad captain choice for Leicester as the next one, Kulusevski. He goes to West Ham United, supporting Evanilson. A team going under the radar as Hutchinson to Everton. And Spurs Mohamed Kudus, the man who tried to fight their team earlier in the season. We get in a lot of rivalry picks as the right wing. Oh, they've got the worst rated player in the entire wheel spin of Manchester United. Sure, he's class on grass in real life, but in FIFA terms, he's a bronze card. He's Tyler Diblin, so he still has a long way to go. As we don't, Neto going to Crystal Palace with Cole Palmer, and Brentford Iwobi, so we've still got some decent players on this wheel. Foden and Saka as the next one. Solly march back to Brighton. A weak team for them, but then Saka gets the spin to Fulham. Almiron to Wolves though. Oh, that has gotta hurt. Let's hope they can perform as then Bournemouth, Jota Silva, Newcastle Bailey. And whilst there is still Foden on this wheel, I'm going to take the chance to say when I do put these teams into FIFA, you'll see in a moment when we get into FIFA, but when I put these teams in, their benches will be youngsters only. They have to rely upon these 11 players for their form as, Gomez. He's a really bad player for Wolves. Going to City as then Chelsea get Ismail Assar from Crystal Palace. And Forest, Jack Harrison. Foden still up for chance. As who are Arsenal gonna get? Arsenal get Semenyo. Leaving the final player for Liverpool. A bit of saviour in Foden. But without further ado, let's put these teams into FIFA. And here we are at the end of things, starting off with Bournemouth's team. Some great defenders, a very good left-hand side to the team, and Kanate I'll probably put on that left-hand side. Make it stronger with Emi Martinez, who I should have made the captain. Now we're going in alphabetical order again. This is Arsenal, and I think this is a lot weaker than what we've just seen. And Aston Villa, very mixed. I don't think they've got a great team. They've got some really good players, then some bad ones like Decore and Forbes. And as I did say, everybody in the same shape and the reserves. And bench of every team, there is no one over 70 rated. To make it fair, as this is Brentford, is it? Yes, it is. And I know they've got players like Kyle Walker who has moved. Yeah, the likes of him, Maxwell Cornet. There will be a lot of players in different positions. I planned this video before EA ruined the title update. Or didn't ruin the title update, ruined this video a little bit for me, but still I do like how it's gone because all the teams do look similar. And I cannot wait to get Sim in, as I think Chelsea are a shout for one of the weakest. However, Crystal Palace, apart from Vestergaard, do look quite decent. Gotta remember as well, players will grow like Hutchinson and Ramsey in this team along with Hall. Everton do look a little bit set. Same with Fulham. Just look at that defence. I love it. And then Ipswich have improved with the GOAT on the right wing. We've got Leicester. Meh, not the worst, not the best team. And then Liverpool, who I thought would be bad with their first choices. And Manchester United, on the other hand, apart from Virgil van Dijk, I really thought they'd stand a chance, but that team does not impress me. And same with Manchester City's, maybe the worst apart from Declan Rice. And Newcastle, well, I do see them as pretty decent. No standout players, as this is Nottingham Forest. And then this is Southampton. And let's not lie, I think Southampton would take this team in real life, but this is where some of the big boys are hiding. We've got Rodri, Haaland, although a little bit of a weak team Spurs around them. They will be one of the favourites, as this is West Ham United. And this is Wolverhampton, yet again another strong team. But without further ado, let's sim our first season. And here we are at the end of the first season. I think I'm going to do 3. And yes, I am in charge at the top corner of Aston Villa. Don't worry though, I simulated this thing with my beloved Grimsby town. So I have not interfered the results. Let's hope some shocks happen. As firstly, goal scorers, and it looks like Chelsea went into the free agent market, picked up Marmouche. Ollie Watkins was the top scorer though. Sinisterra is very interesting. Isaac, Chris Wood up there. Haaland for Spurs. Visa for Brighton. Top assister though, Pereira at Bournemouth. And then Chavez, he's gone to Spurs. Jack Grealish, Havertz, Mateus Fernandes. That is something I'm interested in, to see if players grow more. As surely there's growth in Kepa. 13 clean sheets for Manchester City, who didn't win the league though. Of course it went to my favourites. I called it with Rodri and Haaland. It is Spurs. Fulham had that good defence. They're up there. Newcastle with Isaac. Very surprised in Arsenal, but it is Leicester City, West Ham and Brentford overall were the worst team from the draft. That's the likes of Rashford, Walker, Ramsdale all relegated. As the cup winner season 1 was Martin Odegaard, leading Wolves to it. Manchester City did get a trophy, so Declan Rice has had to carry. And then in Europe, our furthest team was Liverpool in the round of 16. That of the Champions League, Manchester United did reach that in the Europa. And Chelsea did win the Conference League despite changing their team up, which, let's not lie, they do already under Todd Bowley almost every season. Interesting season 1. But what about season 2? Okay, so more team tracking to do. We've got to look in the league below. As Fulham finished bottom this year with Trent, Murillo, even Martinez. In the defence, we've got Southampton surviving. Villa, I've just took control of them again and winning the league for the second time running, was Tottenham. And I didn't like how that was just kind of a normal top 6. I thought changing stuff would spice it up, and the team relegated Brentford win the FA Cup this season. Very nice over Newcastle. We'll check how they've done in the league below, as West Ham United win the Carabao over Spurs as any Champions League winner. Chelsea made the final. And that's with the front three of Smith Rowe, Onuachu and Ismail Assar of Crystal Palace, who I'm shocked haven't done better, as Liverpool make a Europa League final. Guessing signings have been made, and Fulham didn't get past the playoffs in the UCL or UECL, as returning back to the Premier League will be West Ham, Leicester, and the FA Cup winners have to go in the playoffs. As up there on goals this season, you can see more signings happening, but João Pedro, Mateta, then on assists, Facundo Buenanote's back. He actually transferred out of Brighton, so they've signed him as a free agent. Same with Bryan Hill. Salah at Wolves done well. Mateta and Mateus Cunha. And then clean sheets. Alisson, of course. Kepa's really reviving his career. Martinez, Pickford. I wonder what Kepa's rating is now. We'll probably get to see a lot of signings made. Yep, I see a lot at Manchester City. As he's still a 78, but he's absolutely rocking the Premier League. And we'll start on scorers again. This looks to be exactly the same, but it isn't. Erling Haaland at the top, Hill up there, Baena. This is the final season we'll be doing. Looks like Manchester City have signed more players. Bruno Fernandes has stuck it out at Southampton. Same with João Pedro at Ipswich, as Cunha doing it for Aston Villa. Cover your eyes both, Aston Villa fans and Wolverhampton. As Chevalier's moved to Spurs, Vicario at Manchester United. Yes, it's a good job we're not going too far into the future. I think we'd see too much change. We'd probably see Messi at Ipswich Town. The rate this has been going, as Tottenham Hotspur have won this draft. You can just tell by the way they're finishing as a normal top 5 or 6. Wolves, Villa, Ipswich. Ipswich being helped out by this. Going down, Nottingham Forest, Crystal Palace, and Leicester City. Leicester really struggled. Looked like Brentford didn't get promoted again. As Villa actually made the final, again, I didn't control them, against Manchester United in the FA Cup, and again, relegated Palace win the Carabao Cup. Despite their failures, really, as Chelsea like the Champions League. Brentford like the Europa. They made round of 16 despite being Championship. And West Ham win the Conference League, get in there, big club mentality. And this has really been fun to draft. Of course, I don't really have anything else to show you. That's what the Villa team looks like, and a lot of changes being made to it. As if you want to see this done with another league, La Liga or the Championship, comment down below, and of course leave a like to let me know you guys did like this video, and click my hands for more of them.